If you can only execute when you feel like executing, you will fucking lose 100 times out of 100. So what's the solution? Well, the solution is to change your perspective and to understand that motivation comes and goes. It's good to feel motivated. Is it easier to execute when you're motivated? Yeah, of course it is. However, it's an unrealistic expectation to believe that we are always going to feel like doing what it is we know is required to do.
In other words, you can deal with any tough today if you have a compelling tomorrow. Anybody can do that. But today people think, oh my God, I can't go outside. Oh my God, all my choices are taken away. Oh my God, we're all gonna die in 12 years because of an environmental crisis, which is total bullshit. But there are people that have been taught this, and there are kids today that are saying, I'm not gonna have children because this is the world I'm entered into, because they have no compelling future. But if you try to paint a compelling future when a person is in a lowered energy state, it won't work. They'll just reject it. Because in a lowered state, your brain goes into survival mechanisms. And the survival mechanism, you're always looking for what's wrong. What do I have to fight, or what do I have to fly from, or what do I have to freeze and hope it won't hurt us? That's the part of your brain that's 2 million years old, and it's well wired. But we don't have a saber-tooth tiger to deal with. So now we worry about what people say to us, or will we have enough money, or what somebody's gonna write about you in social media, and we have a similar reaction. The way you overcome that is the way you drive your nervous system.
You know, when you get old in life, things get taken from you. I mean, that's part of life. But you only learn that when you start losing stuff. You find out life's this game of inches. So is football. Because in either game, life or football, the margin for error is so small. I mean, 1/2 a step too late or too early, and you don't quite make it. 1/2 second too slow, too fast, you don't quite catch it. The inches we need are everywhere around us.
Hell yeah.
They're in every break of the game, every minute, every second.
I'm trying to build people up. I'm trying to armor their mind. I'm trying to get them the belief. Because this world we live in is tough. It will beat you down. The world and the life that we live in is the ultimate competitor. It will try to take you out. It will find your weakness, and it will just hammer you. If I can help you build belief, build confidence to the point where nothing can hurt you because you know exactly who you are. Because I know every motherfucker ain't gonna do what I'm gonna do. So this is how you level up. That's how you level up. I know there's a whole bunch of people with that right there. That fires me up. That makes me fucking happy, what you just said. That brings joy to my life right there.
Why?
Because I know there's so many people that have the ability and just refuse to get off that couch. Refuse to study a few more hours. Refuse to go deeper, to go further. And that's where I gain the advantage. It's so easy to be great nowadays, my friend, because most people are weak. Most people don't want to go to that extra mile. Most people don't want to find that extra because it sucks. It's miserable. It's lonely. You talk about that you were kind of, lonely by yourself. I was the same way. And that used to hurt me growing up. Now I fucking thrive in that shit.
And you grew up good and wonderful. It was great just watching you every day. It was like a privilege. Then the time come for you to be your own man and take on the world, and you did. But somewhere along the line, you changed. You stopped being you. You let people stick a finger in your face and tell you you're no good. And when things got hard, you started looking for something to blame, like a big shadow. Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Now, if you know what you're worth, now go out and get what you're worth. But you gotta be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you wanna be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you. You're better than that.
So yeah, well, I have a family, so it's a great idea for you to just go out there and go crazy. I have people to support. You need to listen. Stop saying that. Stop saying any of those things. Every single person who has ever done anything worthwhile or exceptional or difficult or extraordinary, anyone, whether it's great artists or authors or mathematicians or whatever it is, everyone encounters difficulties. There is no easy road. It does not exist. It is impossible. Everyone has issues. If you have time to pursue a hobby, if you have time to do anything in your life, you can better yourself. And here's one way you never better yourself. When you come up with excuses for why other people are successful and you're not. That is dangerous. When you give yourself an escape, yeah, well, that's easy for you to say, you do this, you do, and trust me. Everybody has a hard road. I wanted to jump out a window several times during my young life. I wanted to jump in front of a train, it just ended because it's too much pressure. Not really, but you know what I'm saying, theoretically. We all go through hard times. We all go through depression. We all go through doubt and moments in your life where it's really difficult and you're trying to figure out what your path is gonna be. It's hard as shit. But Stefan and I were talking about this before the podcast starts, that is what makes you a person. And those difficult moments are what build your character. Show me a great man who's the son of a great man. That's what we're saying. These kids that are born billionaires, you're never going to be a self-made person. You have a backup trust for your backup trust for your trust, and you're man. The most important thing is always for all people to recognize that you're not who you were a year ago. You're not who you were 5 years ago. You're not who you were last week. You're who you are now, and this is the only you have control over. So you gotta regulate how much you dwell on regrets of the past. You really gotta be careful, because it's good to have a little, because my regrets, whether it's things of professional nature or the very few regrets friendship-wise, which is one thing that makes me very happy. But there's life is strange. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of factors happening in life. But for sure, who I am now wouldn't have ever happened if I didn't fuck up. If I didn't make those mistakes, I wouldn't have understand the importance of friendship and kindness. And if I hadn't been cruel at some point in my life, or someone hadn't been cruel to me, I wouldn't understand the beauty of love. I wouldn't understand the full range of it, because I hadn't felt the sting. If nobody ever punches you in the face, you don't really appreciate safety. Because a lot of people don't even understand what safety is. You could say, oh, we're safe, but you are so not safe at any moment. And when someone's punched you in the face a bunch of times, and you've been in a street fight with some guy you barely knew, you've gotten in an argument with, there's something about regular safety that's sweeter. Yeah. It's more delicious. It's more delicious. It's way better to drive your car straight after you almost lost control on a turn. And then you get back straight, you're like, whoa. I'm not saying that you should go sideways around corners. What I am saying is that there's a yin and a yang to this world, man. And you gotta fuel yourself with the fuck-ups. And most people get stuck in these patterns because they define themselves as a fuck-up, or they define themselves as a person who doesn't follow through on their ideas, or a person who doesn't pursue their real interests and loves. You define yourself by that. Well, I guess I start things and I quit. No, you don't. No, you have started things and you quit. And it gives you a horrible sense of regret that's made you define yourself by that. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that.
Well, you got to first see what's preventing it. What's preventing it is everyone has the same two deepest fears. All humans. I don't care. I've dealt with greatest athletes in the world, multi-billionaires, guys in prison, you name it, kids. We all are afraid we're not enough at some point. If you feel like you're not young enough, strong enough, old enough, mature enough, funny enough, rich enough, something enough for someone who you really want to be enough for, it brings up an even deeper fear, which is if I'm not enough, I won't be loved. And love is the oxygen of the soul. If a baby is not kinesthetically loved, they develop what's called failure to thrive syndrome. We are a unique species in that love is our competitive advantage. If you're born as a baby and there's no mother or father there, you're a lizard, you live. But if you're a child, you die. We need each other. We have a long dependency on each other. Some of the longest animals other than primates are like whales that are dependent for a year. But 5 years, 10 years, these years, 35 years, some people are still dependent on their parents to make sure things work for them.
It's a great fear of mine with my kids.
But the point is that that fear that we're not enough is what's getting in the way. And you don't get over it, you get beyond it. And the way you get beyond it is you just train yourself. And as you just said, that's why in the seminars, it isn't just the content. It's putting you in a state where the content can land.